Yeah, a couple of days back I saw this really good movie called The Bucket List. I don't know if you people have seen it. Well, yeah, I've seen the movie. Cool. So it's like the two protagonists. We have Morgan Freeman and Jack Nicholson. They're basically going to die in 6 months. They've got cancer and they're going to die in 6 months. And they decide to make this bucket list. If you don't know what a bucket list is, it's basically a thing. It's the kind of things that you're going to do before you die. So it does this really beautiful scene in which both of these people are sitting on top of a pyramid in Egypt, and they're discussing life after death. Obviously, that's what they're discussing. So what basically happens is, if you're an Egyptian and you die, you will basically reach heaven, and the pearly gates, they're going to ask you just 2 questions, and if your answer is positive for these 2 questions, you have free entry. But the first question is pretty straightforward. It's pretty good. It basically says, in all the time that you spent on planet Earth, were you happy? Now, we all know that citizens are, tomorrow you people are going to have your hot cars, your beautiful wives, your Nobel Prizes if you really push it. So when you kick the bucket, I guess you people should more or less be happy. You can go back and say, yes, I am happy with my life. But the second question is a little trickier. The second question is, in all the time that you spent on planet Earth, were people around you happy? And this is the kind of question. That's when, the picture of that kid who comes begging for money every time you stop at the street signal comes in your mind. And you wonder, have I really done something? Was he really happy? Have I really done anything to make him happy? Well, honestly speaking, what could we have really done? What is it that you can do? You know that paying the child definitely does not help. You're just supporting the mafia and just going to send more children into the streets. And you definitely cannot take him back home. Your mom is not going to be very impressed by you if you do that. So, what is it that we as normal human beings, what can we do when we see something like this? Obviously, if you are somebody like Mother Teresa, we can quit our jobs, we can start an ashram of our own and take care of these kids. Or if you are really rich like Ratan Tata, you can probably start many of these ashrams all over the place and pay people to run these institutions. But is that it? I mean, is this whole philanthropy or is charity, is compassion a privilege of the truly rich or the truly great people like Mother Teresa and Mahatma Gandhi? What about mere mortals like all of us? What if we want to do something for the world around us? Is there something that we can do? Well, this is where Make a Difference comes into the picture. As of now, we are, if not the largest, then the fastest growing youth volunteer network in the country. We have 800 teachers. Can you see? Good. Yeah, we have 800 teachers who teach close to 2,700 children in 10 cities in India as of now. We have some very, very, very narrow-minded aim. We believe that in bridging the inequality in society through education. And we believe that, imagine a street child who was sitting with you in MEC and studying, the child you saw on the road. Don't you think both of you will have the same opportunities in life? And we believe that's what equality is all about. If you are able to have the same opportunity as the person sitting next to you, and all that matters is your willpower to go out and get it, then we believe that's equality. And that's something that we are striving for. But unfortunately, that's not the situation in India today. Even though 95% of our students, of our children, get into a school, when they join primary school, when they are 5 years, 6 years old, 72% of them would have dropped out by the time they finish their education. By the time they finish 10th standard, 72% of them would have dropped out. Now, we work in orphanages, street shelters, and in poor boy homes. And a huge chunk of the 72% is coming from our center. And our centers, when a child is from an orphanage, the situations are a lot worse. So basically, the need why an organization like Make a Difference exists is basically because these kids are there are taken care of only till the 10th standard. That's after 10th standard, they are on their own. Imagine your parents telling you, you know what, we're giving you 10 years of education, now you go make your own life. What do you do? You might end up like a couple of our kids who might end up in a petrol pump or in a restaurant cleaning plates. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad job, but these kids were earning 300, 400 rupees a day when they were in the street. They're extremely street smart. They're resourceful and they're talented. When I see them, I see great managers. I see great artists in them, and they don't deserve to be in this situation. So what Matt tries to do is to support them a little further, but the system is again complicated. everybody knows, even if you're in an orphanage, you're going to a bad school, but you put in your level best and you get great marks. Even after that, you get straight A's in your 10th standard and you go to a decent school, a good school for your 11th standard education, and you can't understand a word the teacher is telling you, because for the last 10 years, you studied in a vernacular medium school. You studied in a Malayalam medium school where the teacher now is speaking in English. Now, it's really funny because even a street child today knows how important English is. But for some reason, our leaders lobby every day to ensure that the poorest of the poor amongst us keep learning in the vernacular language and not in English. So, as an organization, we believe a lot in English. We feel English is something that can probably bridge the gap. English will help these kids do a lot more than they can do today. And that's what Make a Difference is all about. Now, what do we do? What do we really do actually on the ground? We provide our children with 4 hours of quality English classes. We go to the orphanages and we teach them 4 hours of quality English classes twice a week. That's number 1. Number 2 is most of our centers in Cochin, around 7 out of the 12 that we have, are computerized in the ratio 6:1, which basically means every child will get half an hour of computer-aided English teaching on a daily basis. That's another thing that we touched on. This is so that the exposure is there for the language. Number 3, the career awareness that's available. These kids are not really aware of what's happening around them, what are the job opportunities for them. Every month we take them out of their centers, we take them to a hotel, we take them to a naval base, we tell them what are the jobs out there, basically ask them to dream. And finally, they get to meet motivated, ambitious adults like you people who come and teach them. And you people end up being the role models and they make a huge difference in their lives. Now, as running a volunteer network, we know volunteer networks do have a lot of limitations. We're very aware of it. First of all, the quality might not be the best as you expect, and scalability is another major problem. Now, as far as quality is concerned, we were able to deal with that problem very efficiently. First of all, we do not let everybody who is interested in Make a Difference join. Only those people who have the requisite skills. We have a 3-level recruitment program through which they get it. Now, we normally interview close to 4 people before, and one of them joins. That's the ratio. And we provide professional teacher training for our teachers. In the second year, we started the professional teacher training, and our volunteers were trained by the same teacher trainers who trained the teachers of one of the premier schools in Kerala. I hope you know Choice School. They were getting the same quality of teacher training. The same teachers were training them. And the next year, we decided to expand a little further. We realized that the materials that we have to teach right now, the Cambridge University materials if you're trying to follow, were not exactly for the kind of children that we are dealing with. I deal with 15-year-old kids who are still struggling with their ABCDs. Now, you cannot teach them through Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. You need to have something different. And our volunteers also need a lot more support than a regular teacher. So we provide our volunteers with scripted materials. All they need to do is go to the class and read, just deliver the script, and that's the detailing that we go into. Hence we are able to standardize the quality in a class. So and then there is mentor support. Now, the next part is a little difficult, scalability. In our second year, by the end of our second year, we had close to 15 cities where youngsters wanted to start Make a Difference in their cities. We were really excited that this college project that we started 2 years back with 10-20 volunteers now can reach out to many more children. But we were really scared whether the quality could be delivered. So the first thing that we did is we jotted down everything that was there in our mind. We tried to put a structure to the whole thing. So we put it into a structure, we do a lot, we decide who does what in the organization, and once we had a clear idea about that, we made it into a more presentable format, that people can see. And we decided, we went to one of the premier web development companies here called ISPG, and we asked them that they can make an ERP for us. And ERP, I hope you know, you're techie people. ERP, that basically integrates HR, training, operations, and all those activities. So currently, this is what we have. Now you need to know that we are running a youth volunteer network. So it's a voluntary thing. If they don't find it interesting, they'll just not do it. So what we have done is we have integrated an ERP into a community. It's more like Facebook than anything else, where you have a profile. Those are the kids that you teach. Those are the orphanages in the centers in your city. And you have, can I stand there for 2 minutes? A little bit of slide movement here. Okay, you have all your regular stuff like photo details, etc. You have your scrapbooks where you can talk to your friends. But Along with it, we carefully slipped in the whole attendance part of the whole system. Basically, every volunteer before coming to class needs to confirm that he's coming to the class 48 hours before the class. Now, if a volunteer does not do it, he gets a message from the server saying, "Bugger, please confirm your class ASAP." And he forgets to put his attendance after class, he gets a message for that. So we have integrated messaging into the whole thing so that we know real time. So every day after a class, I get a report on what has happened, who all went, and what did they actually take in class. And that is where the feedbacks come in. After we have 800 volunteers, and all our volunteers after their class are supposed to put a feedback online about the syllabus that we have made. So any feedback that we get in this format. So what do you think? Did you like it? Did you not like it? And this is the basis of what we develop our syllabus. If we don't develop our syllabus, the whole thing, the beginning of the year, we just take, we go step by step after integrating these things. This is again another place where these things can be added. These are feedbacks, new ideas that volunteers have that can be searched. Event section is something that is really interesting. It is just like any other event portal that you have, where you can invite, you can start your own event. So you can start your own event and you can invite people for it. Now in MAD we have events almost every week. We either have a training, we have a recruitment, we have a lot of career awareness activities happening, we have camps happening. In fact, one just got over yesterday. So how do we get we have 120 volunteers here. How do we get everybody informed? All our volunteers are part-timers. We cannot ask everybody to call everybody and tell them. So this is a place where everybody gets invited, you get invited, you can choose whether you have to come and go. So the guy who starts the event has got a very clear RSVP system. So you know who's attending, who's not, all the existing details. So this is amazing, but the most interesting part is that this is not just open to the volunteers, it is open to our donors, it's open to our well-wishers. So anybody who's funding MAD knows what exactly is happening in MAD. All he needs to see is the event register. Basically this is where all the events come in. Now shout out is just another fact. You make an announcement and you want to know who all has actually listened to it. You can see that. You're seeing who all have actually applied, agreed to it, who all have not. And this is basically to consolidate. There is a lot of information coming from all sides. So this is where the updates are coming in. And this is our final most important slide. When you're in education, it's really difficult to map the progress of what you're doing. They say it takes 20 years for education to actually show the results outside. But that's not enough for us. We need to know whether what we're doing is actually having any ground result. So every child of ours has got a profile online where basically we track three things. Number one is school scores. That's the one you see in green. That's a school report every year. The school scores come into the picture. The second thing that we force, every 3 months we have one test, which is basically for us to evaluate, not for the children, whether the children are actually learning. So this is, and that scores are actually done. And finally, every volunteer after the class, once in 3 months, updates the student profile. The volunteer who's teaching the student, so that even after 2 years, when one volunteer leaves and another volunteer takes up the student, he gets a lot of data on what the real student's interests are. So, oh sorry, I've not got there yet. So basically, what are we trying to do? What is exactly happening here? It's not just a fun website where people can interact. What we're doing is that we're redefining what volunteers were perceived to be. In an earlier stage, volunteers were nothing but a fringe group, basically who supports the core activities and never part of the core team. How many volunteer networks, how many national agencies, organizations do you know where volunteers are the core team members? In MAD today, we empower normal people to become good teachers. We empower them. Every year we have elections amongst the volunteers, and they are the people who run MAD nationally. So MAD is run today, its 800 volunteers are organized and are managed by just these few people. Now, number two, we are redefining how MAD engages or organizations engage. We're redefining exactly how a new donor interacts with an NGO. Normally, a donor has to wait till the end of the year to get a report from the NGO on how they spend the money, what they were doing all the year. But it's no longer so anymore. They can get up-to-date information on the student progress, on the class happenings, on the feedback, except n number of verticals. So what they can do really is set standards. They say, you know what, I will fund you if you can ensure this level of class quality. So we're looking forward for a day where donors do not just blindly pay money to the people, to the organizations, or based on gut feelings, but can have real value. They can actually measure the progress of these organizations. And finally, we are redefining how NGOs manage themselves. NGOs are infamous probably, for the kind of administrative costs that they have. Any average NGO will have something close to 20% to 60% of administrative costs. Well, Make a Difference runs in 10 cities, it's 800 volunteers with just one employee sitting in Cochin. Now, that is the kind of administrative efficiency that we're able to bring in if we leverage the technology that we have. So that's something that, and as a final word, the thing is, today we are 1 billion strong as a country. By 2050, we are going to be 1.5 billion. And this year we have 40% of our entire population is below the age of 15. And another 5 years, they're going to be below the age of 18. Now, what is going to happen to these kids? With our government investing just 3 to 4% on their education, it's impossible to achieve universal education. Unless we communities, we as a group, get involved in these activities, I really do not think that we can do much. Make a Difference is nothing but an idea how the community can get involved and make a difference. And I thought this was an idea worth spreading. Thank you.
The idea is really innovative. What I wanted to ask you is, how did you manage to get so big? And getting people who are busy and educated from most of your programs have the urban mass involved in this.
Yeah.
So how could you manage getting so big?
Yeah, it's an irony that engineering students know that you are not really busy. It's just just the stuff that you say. It's the same thing with everywhere. People have a lot of free time, and more than the free time, everybody they really want to do something about the world around them. They are not. It's considered that we are the Coke generation or Pepsi generation who don't care about anybody but ourselves. I do not agree with that. I have 800 people to prove that. There are a lot of people out there who are really passionate about it. All they needed was an opportunity to do it without probably quitting their job and making a drastic change, but able to live their current lifestyle and still contribute. And that probably is the difference.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.